Focus on your spiritual growth. Life is not just physical. You're focusing on material things, possessions, status, and thinking that's the end all be all. But life is not just physical, it's also spiritual. And if you neglect your spiritual health, you will suffer long term. Now, before I break this video down, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to hit the red subscribe button. Also, leave a comment down below on your spiritual journey. Now, the reason I want to talk about this is because most people are focusing on everything but their spirituality. They're focusing on acquiring money, the status, buying that car, buying that house. They put so much time, energy into these possessions, which are all temporary. You understand? All of these things that you're trying to acquire are temporary. When it's all said and done, and when you go to funerals, people don't talk about, oh, he had a Ferrari, or he had a Rolex, or no, they're going to talk about your character. They're going to talk about your behavior, your mannerisms, how kind you was, and how you was always there for him, and stuff like that is going to be mentioned at your funeral. So they're the things that matter the most. That's why it's very important to focus spiritually on becoming a more spiritual person, because once you become more spiritual, you're going to become a righteous man or woman. You're going to be more in tune with yourself and other people, more generous. You understand? They're the things that truly matter in this world. Now, of course, we're in a physical world, so that doesn't mean you should abandon chasing money or any possessions. No, of course, you're in the game, so you got to play the game. If you can acquire riches and buy things and live the way you want to, of course do that. But do not forget that life is not just physical, and there's a higher power, there's a God, whatever you believe in. You see, like I say, most people are religious to a sense, either Christian, Muslim, or maybe in spirituality. But how much time and energy do you really spend on your spirituality? And how much time and energy spend on material possessions and going to work and acquiring, buying clothes or possessions? You see, people spend very little to no time at all on the spiritual journey and connecting with God, the Creator. And people spend a lot of time and energy into external things, their phone, the house, the money. You understand? So it's like we're doing it backwards. We're living backwards in the society. We're putting the physical on a pedestal and putting the spirituality at the back. You understand? So when you do that, you're going to suffer automatically, because life, again, is not just what you see. It's beyond that. There's a spiritual realm where we're spiritual beings having a human experience. So if you forget this, then you get too attached to this world. You get too attached to the possessions, to the people, to what you see. Once you detach and realize that, this life is just temporary and this is just a test, and there's going to be a next dimension, the next stage of existence, then your mind comes at ease. All your problems, the anxiety, depression, all eases, because you realize that what I'm feeling right now is not the end all be all. There's gonna be moments after this. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, always put God first. Always put the higher power first. Because when it's all said and done, we're all returning to the Maker. You understand? And the status, the material, is here today, is gone tomorrow. But your character, your morality, being a good person will stay with you forever. Your memories will stay with you forever. So if you're focusing on your spiritual growth, you will automatically become a better person. And the aim should be a good human being. That's the first aim. Whether you're spiritual, religious or not, you should be a good human being. And if you focus on God, focus on the higher power, automatically you're going to walk the right path. But if you're focused on a material, possessions, money, you're more likely to go into the dark path, doing things that you shouldn't be doing in order to get the money, to get the bag, get the possessions. See, which path do you want to walk? Do you want to walk the righteous path, or do you want to walk the path of material possessions and status? Now, you can walk both paths. You don't have to pick one or the other. But if you're focusing mostly on money and possessions, you're going to end up walking the wrong path. If you're focusing on God, then of course the money and possessions you can have at the same time in the right way. Doing it in the right way, doing everything righteously. That should be the aim for every human being. But like I said, in society today, there's so much emphasis on earning X amount of money, becoming financially free, having this status, becoming an alpha male, and buying this car, and all of these things that are just distractions. Yeah, it's good to have if you can possess them, great. But that should not be your main focus. That should not be your aspiration, your end game. Yeah, it's become a multi-millionaire, having 5 supercars in the hills with loads of females. Like that's a low aim. You should think, let me connect with the Creator. Let me be a good human being. Let me try and impact the world in a positive way. Now, again, you can do both. It's not like either you pick material possessions or you pick God. You can pick God and have material possessions. But what's your dominant focus? If your dominant focus is God, then you're going to walk the right path. Now, you have to remember, life will come to an end at some point. We don't know when that day will come, today, tomorrow, 50 years, 70 years, nobody knows. And when it's all said and done, we're going to go back to the Creator and we'll all be judged on our character and our sins and our good deeds. So if your whole life is spent just chasing money, chasing possessions, and life is over now and you're in front of God on Judgment Day, what are you going to tell Him? Oh, nah, I was busy just chasing the bag and so I had to... No, there's nothing to say. You forgot about God, you chased the possessions, and now you have to suffer for your consequences. Whereas if you remember God on a day-to-day basis, I'm not saying you have to be a saint or you have to be a monk or something. No, you don't have to be that. Just remembering God and just being grateful for what you possess and knowing that this life is only temporary, then you're on the right track. But if you're too attached to this life, to this, I've got to make money, I've got to buy that car, and then you get too attached to the world and then you suffer. Do you feel what I'm saying to you? So really focus yourself on putting God first and remembering it's all temporary. And the beauty of it is that once you do get closer to God and realize that this life is just temporary, everything's just a test, you will not suffer as much as other people, because the people who suffer the most are people who don't believe in anything. They believe that life is just life. We're here, we only live once, and once we're dead, we're dead. We need to get rich as possible, get as powerful as possible, and that's it. So when bad things happen to them type of people, like someone passes away, they cannot comprehend the suffer from now until end times, because they don't understand why someone has to die. When bad things happen, an accident or something happens that, so to say, shouldn't happen, they don't know how to deal with it. But if you're a believer in God, you're a believer in a higher power, and you have spirituality, you realize that everything is meant to be. If someone dies, you accept it as that's part of the journey, that it's end of the road for them. Bad things happen to you, you know it's just a test from God. So that's the importance of being spiritual, bro. It's going to guide you through your whole life. Your whole life will be guided because you will not take anything personal. You know that, this is not the end or be all. Me becoming a multimillionaire, it's not the end or be all. Like, the material possessions all going to perish. And what will be left is just me and my deeds. So how are you going to live your life? Righteously or unrighteously? It comes down to your belief. You see, a lot of people believe in God, but believing is one thing. Actions speak louder than words. You understand? Actions speak louder than words. If you're a true believer in God, your actions will speak for itself. And now, of course, you're not going to be perfect. The point is not to be perfect. Like, I'm a perfect person, I have no sins, and I'm walking around like a saint or priest, whatever. That's not the point. We're all sinners. Everyone's going to make mistakes. Everyone's going to fall short. But returning back to God continuously, returning back to God and asking for guidance, for forgiveness, and just to become a better person is the whole point of the worshiping, to come back to the Creator. But if you feel like, nah, I just need to get my money up and money equals happiness and, I need to bro, it's all good in the short term, but in the long term, you realize that, you're going to have an existential crisis, because you're going to realize that what is life come to? You're going to, even when you acquire all the millions that you desire, you're still going to feel empty. You're still going to feel something's missing. You're still not going to feel content with yourself because you have no connection with God. So we don't want to be drifting and go astray from the Creator. We want to get closer to the Creator in order to be a righteous man or woman, and then spread the message, help other people. And that's the whole point. We're all human beings. We're all one race. It's all about unity, love, helping each other grow. It's not about you stamping on the next man in order for you to get to that position, pushing that person down. It's about love, unity, empathy, togetherness, and that as one race. You understand? And like I say, people feel like religion or spirituality or whatever is the reason that the world is so divided. But if it wasn't for spirituality or religion, the world would be divided into tribalism. Because then we'll be separated in our countries. And within our countries will be our races. And within the races will be our cultures and traditions. And everyone will be out for everyone else. So the unity in spirituality and religion brings people together. Now, you don't need to follow religion or anything like that, but just know that we're all one and that there's a higher power and there's life after death. Death is not the end. Just know that death is not the end. It's the beginning of a new journey. Once you die, you go into the next dimension. And then the journey continues on. So focus on improving spiritually. It's very important. And realize that this is all temporary. The pain is temporary, the good times are temporary, bad times are temporary. And then once you realize this and you build a connection with God, then you can walk in grace, you can walk in harmony, walk peacefully, because you know that it's all part of the journey, it's all a test. You feel what I'm saying? So I appreciate you for watching the video. If the video brought you any value, smash the like button, hit the red subscribe button, and make sure to leave a comment down below on your spiritual experience.